I didn't say a word when my father laughed in my face. His voice was sharp, cutting through the quiet of my 30th birthday dinner. "Thanks, son," he said, leaning back in his chair, smug and satisfied. "Your money just secured your sister's future." My mother didn't even look up from her glass. "You would have wasted it anyway." I remember the clink of ice against crystal, the taste of burnt steak and deceit. And then I laughed too, softly, controlled, because what they took wasn't what they thought it was. My parents used to say I was the smart one, not affectionate, never that, but proud, in their own distant way. My sister, Emma, was the golden child, the one who deserved more. I worked through college, lived cheaply, and built a small tech firm from the ground up. Every dollar I earned, I saved with purpose. At family dinners, Dad would ask about profits like a banker, not a father. Mom would smile thinly, then change the topic to Emma's latest luxury, her condo, her fiancé, her potential. I never complained, because I believed success would eventually earn me respect. It didn't. It made me a target. It started small, a missing email from the bank, a transaction I didn't authorize, then another, and another. When I confronted the bank manager, his face tightened. Apparently, my parents had full power of attorney over my main account, a document I'd signed years ago, when I was 20, naive, and still trying to prove I was trustworthy. I remember Dad telling me, "It's just paperwork, son, in case of emergencies." I didn't realize I would be the emergency. They had emptied the entire account. 10 years of saving, $1.5 million, gone in 48 hours. The official explanation? A family investment. The truth? They transferred it to an account under my sister's name, to secure her future. I didn't react, not then, not even when my lawyer said I'd have a hard time proving coercion. Not when Mom texted, "You'll understand one day. We did this for your own good." No, I didn't cry. I studied. People make one mistake when they betray someone quiet. They assume silence means weakness, but silence is planning. 3 months before my 30th birthday, I began to prepare. I sold my company, but not publicly. I created 2 shell firms, one legitimate, one decoy. I funneled $1.5 million into the decoy under my personal account, the very one they'd drain. Meanwhile, the real money, $8.7 million, was divided, encrypted, and hidden in offshore trusts under multiple corporate entities, all legal, all invisible. The account they touched was bait. Every email they intercepted, every document they forged, every cent they took, led to one inevitable conclusion. They would steal exactly what I wanted them to. On my birthday, they invited me to dinner at their house, my old childhood home. The irony wasn't lost on me. I could still see the faint mark on the wall where Dad once threw a remote during an argument. Dinner was staged like a performance. Emma wasn't there, of course. She was in Dubai, living off my investment. Dad poured himself another glass of whiskey. Mom smiled that same brittle smile. Then he said it. "Your money's gone, son. You'll thank us one day." That smug grin, that tone that always made me feel 10 years old again. So I laughed. And that laugh must have rattled them, because it wasn't the sound of defeat. It was the sound of a fuse burning quietly. I leaned back and said, "Funny thing about money, Dad. It's never really gone. It just moves." He frowned. "What the hell does that mean?" "It means you just committed wire fraud using a shell company registered under my surveillance." Mom blinked. "You wouldn't?" I already did. I turned my phone around and played a recording, his voice on speaker, clear and undeniable. "Your money just secured your sister's future." I watched the color drain from his face. Every word he'd said, every boast, every laugh, I'd recorded it, along with months of forged documents traced back to their IP addresses. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. I simply stood, placed a sealed envelope on the table, and said, "This contains the evidence. I've already filed it with the authorities. You have 48 hours to return what you took, or everything goes public." They thought I was bluffing, so I let them find out the hard way. 2 days later, the IRS froze their accounts. Emma's assets were flagged under fraud suspicion. My parents' financial advisor, a man Dad trusted for years, was subpoenaed. Dad called me that night. His voice cracked, the arrogance finally gone. "What did you do?" I said, "I let you teach me what greed looks like." Then I used it. Click. Within a week, they'd lost everything: the house, the cars, the respectability they worshipped. And me? I didn't need the $1.5 million. I just needed them to understand what it felt like to lose control of something they thought they owned. 3 months later, I visited the old house one last time. It was half empty. The air smelled of dust and defeat. Dad sat on the porch, smaller somehow. He didn't speak when he saw me. I handed him a check, $100,000. "Enough to start over," I said. He stared, speechless. "It's not forgiveness," I added quietly. "It's a reminder. You taught me everything I needed to know about taking. Now, I'm teaching you what it means to earn." Then I walked away. The wind was cold that evening, but it felt clean, like the first breath after drowning. Some people chase revenge for satisfaction. I didn't. I did it for balance. Because when they took my $1.5 million, they thought they stole my future. What they didn't know was that I had already bought my freedom.